Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first rankings of the season, Survivor 42. I guess let's get everyone's first impressions on the premiere.
Uh, um, it was better than last season's first episode. I feel
It
like.
was. It was.
Um, they still need to fire the editors. Um, Jeff Odass is about gonna have to retire. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got.
I was really disappointed with the whole Jackson thing. Mostly because I don't feel like they should have done what they did with the girl who got put on this season, who had to if he needs to wean off a medication, and that's that, just postpone it. Let him play the next season. Don't throw the guy out there knowing he's only gonna be out there 48 hours and rip him from the game. I think that was a blunder on CBS's part, possibly some more virtue signaling, because they're like, we want
100%. Aspen 100% called that.
We want the first trans player, but we're going to pull them in 48 hours, even knowing we have to do it. So it was really, I didn't like it. And it's not just because, he was on my team. It was.
You also got screwed on your team.
It was legitimately just a blunder on CBS's part, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I since we talking about it, yeah, I thought it was completely fucked up. And for Jeff to be like, I was gonna come out here and not say nothing and be secretive about it, but you telling the whole world, and I'm like, Jeff, stop. It was pathetic. Honestly, I don't understand. I barely understood because I don't really know what lithium is. And so I'm like, wait, why can't you be out there? What the fuck is lithium? I'm still confused about it. I mean, I don't know, but I guess I don't know.
I mean, according to Jeff, I guess when you're coming off of it dehydrates you or something. That was the excuse anyway.
I thought it was the negative side effects are worsened by dehydration and stress, which is like the catchphrase of every Survivor season. Fun fact: apparently, Survivor Fiji, it was a 19-person season because last minute they had someone who backed out, and it was supposed to be 20 people, and they just worked it into the season. But I think they were so focused on their need 3 tribes of 6 because they can't just make it 2 tribes on a whim because they've got their fancy idols twist and all their challenges and stuff. So they're like, there's no way he can play the season, but he can play 24 or 48 hours, and then we can just pull him and still get our season. Like, I don't know if they had an alternate at that late of a stage. They didn't for Fiji. Because that was a similar time frame that Melissa McNulty pulled herself prior to the start of the season. So that's just an interesting parallel, I think. I think CBS probably should have let him play it at later season because, let's be honest, they're not going to bring him back now because he's me, but they can't put him on a newbie season. So they're never going to bring this guy back. So, you did him dirty because you refused to change the number of players you're supposed to have.
Yeah, agreed. And I just thought it was like thing I said, they trying to make a big deal about the one trans person, blah blah blah. Like, why'd y'all even do it?
To make that big deal about the trans.
True.
Yeah, that was definitely the big hole in the episode that annoyed me. And then I got even more mad the more I thought about it because a fan guy would know this. There was another Jackson on Big Brother on the same channel who went to the house coming off of drugs, hard drugs. And they left him in the house despite him being a total asshole.
And an overt racist.
Yeah. So I feel like CBS just continues to always drop the ball on everything.
CBS.
They can't just do the right thing to do the right thing. They have to announce to the world that they're doing the right thing. And by doing that, for me, it takes some of the rightness out of it. Because you're not doing it for the right reason. You're doing it so you can get your props.
Absolutely. They are the definition of doing it for clout. 100% just trying to get some claps and some sobs, sad sobs, or what the fuck ever.
So I agree because stuff like that is annoying, but I'll play devil's advocate for a very, very short time here. In that there's this story: this guy wants to build an orphanage, and he does some soul searching, and he goes back and he says, "I realized they only wanted to build the orphanage because people would look at me as a better person. They would like me more because I did this thing." And so he's like, so I'm not going to build the orphanage because I'm doing it for selfish reasons. And then they're all like, well, I really don't think the kids care why you're doing it. They just want the orphanage. So CBS, it is annoying that they do it. But if the other option is for them to cast very no representation casts, I'll take what I can get, I guess.
Okay.
But again, I don't want them to spend all the time patting themselves in the back for it. I mean, if you're doing it in press is one thing, but in the actual editing of episodes, just you don't need to be doing it there. And that's where I think is the difference between it being annoying but understandable and bad, like actively.
Last thing I'll say before we get into the rankings is that I feel like the main reason this premiere was better is because they didn't have to explain the million twists like last season, which I think is what Wooly brought down the edit because they had to constantly focus on their goddamn twists. And now we know most of the twists, so I guess we at least got more camp life. Let's go around.
I mean, we didn't see a lot from a lot of the players, but I do feel like for some reason, I thought the edit wasn't terrible because I actually do thought we at least saw some of the social dynamics going on in the various tribes. It wasn't just advantages.
Well, here's our bottom three. We'll start with our bottom three. They are, well, I guess any thoughts on Zach's elimination? Someone from my team, unfortunately.
I kind of called it with this guy. He's just socially awkward. I know this type of person. I really do. I've been around them. And this kind of cat, he doesn't have a lot of like social chameleon. He's not going to get along with a lot of different kind of people because he has a certain pretentiousness to him. And that pretentiousness is off-putting if you don't know how to soften it with other, social constructs. And he's just oblivious to that. And so I think, his time, it was only a matter of time.
Yeah, I feel like he was likable, but he was going to be too awkward in his social.
Didn't I say that already, I think?
Probably.
I think he was a good confessionalist, which I appreciate. I think he could have brought more moving forward, but at the same time, then we're either I think on that tribe we're either losing a better character or we're losing a better player. So I'm okay with it from that standpoint. Fun fact: I did a draft with my mom and I did a draft with my man, and Zach was the number one pick in both of them. From them, obviously not me, which blew my mind both times it happened. It's it's not like they planned it, but it just blows my mind that I don't know what. Apparently, some people thought really, really highly of him preseason. Not even like what I would consider. Well, my man is, but my mom certainly isn't in like the super fan like community. So I don't know. It's just that I thought that was interesting, and I don't know. I like that. I kind of felt like it was going at a point not to be him. Like I truly thought for a bit it was going to be Roxroy, my guy Roxroy, and I was like, because he had the whole thing with Romeo, which has immediately led to nothing. But it felt like they spent a somewhat significant period of time on that, so that'll be interesting. I'm sure it means something for Romeo, but I just thought that was interesting.
All right, now here is our bottom three: Roxroy, Mariah, and Tori. Fan Guy and I are without a player now, but Mike, you got two players in the bottom.
I got two players in the bottom three, and fun fact, I don't think I ranked either of them. Either. I think I agreed with this consensus, if I'm remembering correctly. I think I originally ranked Maria. Huh?
I think you ranked her, didn't you?
I think I originally did, but then I edited my message. If you didn't take my new rankings, that's fine. But I changed them in the Discord. But if you had already written them down by then I guess I did end up ranking her. But I changed my mind on it after reflecting longer. We didn't really see anything from her. I guess I'll start with her. Maria, actually, I'm pretty sure. I think we've been pronouncing it wrong. Right?
Like
Didn't on the show
Mariah,
they kept saying
isn't it?
Mariah?
It was Mariah.
You're right.
It was Mariah.
I said Maria the whole time preseason. It's gonna be hard to kick myself with a habit, but Mariah. I mean, she seems fine. I don't think she did anything bad, but we didn't see anything hardly from her, so I didn't.
I think her worst point was during the first challenge when she couldn't. She was really struggling with that.
She dropped the ball. She dropped the ball on that, and that's just a bad look in the first challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Because her team had a huge lead, a massive lead for her to work with.
Rockstar was the only person that nobody had in the top 11. He did have a really negative edit for our first episode. Like he's like the leader who's really bossy, which is never good on Survivor.
But I think it says a lot that he wasn't nominated, or
I think he has connections on that team.
He wasn't even one of the two final possibilities for elimination. So I think that says a lot considering how bossy he kind of came off around camp.
I think he's just too strong, which is one of the reasons I took him, because I wanted someone from that tribe, and he seems like by far the physically strongest person, and that's a tribe that increasingly is going to desperately need strength. So I think he might actually be okay, but he's rubbing people so wrong, and the edit was so negative that he's probably done soon. I hope I'm wrong, because I kind of understand a lot of where he's coming from, because he's like, I want to say, what is it, like 40 something, and he's got like all these young people in the tribe singing the Survivor theme in the jungle, and like I can see why that would be annoying. He's like, I'm just trying to build a shelter. Like, sometimes you need to be bossy if you just want a place to sleep, you know.
If you want to get voted off the island too.
But he did it.
You can feel the way he feels without acting the way he acted about it. Because I would have felt the way he felt. I'm an old dude. I'd have been sitting there going, good God. Couldn't have been on a different tribe. But I wouldn't be bossing people around, telling them, do it like this, make the shelter like that. Because that's just, everybody knows better than to do that. If you're a remote fan of Survivor, you know better than to do that. Yeah.
And I mean, I guess to play devil's advocate or whatever Mike calls it, he talked about how he, was a stay-at-home dad and he used to bossing his kids around. So I guess I think that, I don't know. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he thought he was still around his kids and could talk to them like his kids. But let me tell you, us young bucks don't take that too lightly. Like, you can't talk to us like that. Yes, Nick, I am a young buck.
Lastly, Tori, who I think is going to play too hard. But it worked for her this week, I guess. She was transparent enough.
The standout.
Okay.
The standout moment from Tori in this episode was her coming back to camp saying, listen, everybody. I don't have an idol. Let's stop talking about it. And then we get a confessional from Tori where she's like, well, I got rid of all the fears I had in idol, so I'm going to be fine now. Like, as soon as she was standing on a soapbox in front of the tribe, I said, bro, she's going to get herself voted out. Like, I said it out loud. But she didn't, so good on her. I actually think she's going to be hilarious moving forward, but I couldn't in good conscience rank her. So
I can't stand her. And I think editing messed up by letting her read one of those advantages, because you knew she wasn't getting voted out. I knew
it wasn't going to be her, exactly.
You knew she wasn't getting voted out. Took all the suspense out of it because she was one of the people reading the advantages that hasn't popped up yet. So we know she's going to get one of the beware advantages. I'm assuming it'll happen next episode unless production's that blundering. But this girl she annoys me more on the show than she did preseason, which is saying a lot. She is annoying to the max. This is my least favorite person on this cast by a freaking 100 miles. Like I don't
like her either, but I'm standing by her.
So I'll say this, and plug your ears if you don't want any like meta quote unquote spoilers at all. In the B-roll where they're showing her reading the advantage, those aren't her hands. It doesn't mean she doesn't get an advantage, but I think they did some weird splicing with that shit. So, all right, unplug your ears.
Yeah, maybe she's like last season and she finds it with someone else. All right, to round out our bottom 6, we then go to Mike, Swathi, and Lydia.
All
I
right.
had one of these ranked, but I think Mike's pretty out there. I actually like Lydia. I don't think she's as basic as we were implying. I think she's just kind of a dork and she's really out of place on the island. And I like that personality, the Cochrane type who legitimately she's like, I don't like sand. I don't like how it sticks to you. Like, chick, you're on a freaking island. Like, and I find something endearing about that. So I like her, and I think Swathi's gonna be a decent player, actually. I had her ranked, so
Yeah. Wait, hey, who did I pick? I legit forgot.
Pick for what?
Who was
your
my
team?
draft pick? Yeah.
You have Swathi and Lydia, and then you also have Hai and Jonathan.
Okay. I agree with Fanga. I feel like Lydia did a good job. She not as basic as she seems. She seemed like a people person, and she'll be able to, play a good social game. Swati too. She did a good job. She ain't talked about her little Ivy League brainhead ass. So I mean, I guess we kind of in the clear with that. Ain't nobody question it too much. So I mean, I feel like I think I'd probably put them at the bottom too because they ain't do nothing to stand out. But I mean, at least they got ranked. So
When I changed my ranking, I stuck Swathi on there. Actually, I think decently high. I think she actually had a really good episode. If you kind of reflect on it a bit, like, who did Swathi want to go home? She was very strongly pushing Zach the moment she got. Who went home? Zach. Did she actively change minds to that? It sure seemed that way from what they showed us. I think she had a really good episode. Do I think she will win? No, she's too young. She's not going to win. But she had a good episode, so I'm going to rank her. I ranked her based on that. Mike, I don't think Mike should be bottom 6. What I loved from Mike, I guess I'll touch on Lydia really briefly though. I think she's going to get the like Aubrey treatment of like coming out of her shell and like beating all of her neuroses about being outside and stuff. That's totally what I see for her. But back to Mike. What I loved from Mike was him correctly, in my opinion, identifying one person carrying this. They're going to be alienated. It's going to be me. And he kind of strong armed everyone into doing the savvy instead of the sweat at the challenge thing, which I think was the right move for him. So I gave him props for that. He seemed very aware.
Yeah, Mike is a lot better than we gave him credit for, honestly.
Oh yeah.
He's still up for grabs in the comment section if anybody wants him on his team, though. Nobody grabbed Mike. Boo Boo did grab Marianne, however. I have nothing to say about Lydia. I don't feel like we got a whole lot from her in this episode. So we will move on to number 10. Somebody I also don't really have a lot to say about, but number 10 is Lindsay.
I'll start because I had her way higher than this. I thought I really liked the 3 people who went on the second leg of that first run and were able to kind of get that first little power and kind of build that connection or frenemy ship, depending on how it turns out, with the people who also have pieces of that power. Lindsay, for me, just seems pretty athletic, so I think she's going to be good in the challenges. And
that was my one note.
She seems like she didn't blunder socially, so you can assume if she didn't come off socially awkward or mean or bitchy or just something negative, that her social game's probably okay. And so I think she's in a really pretty good spot in the game. So I had her way higher than 10, but I can see why we didn't get a lot from her, so she may not be ranked.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to say from her, but I do agree with both of your points. I think she's going to be athletic in challenges, and I think her having an advantage is obviously something to look out for.
I think of the people who got the advantages, I think she's the one most likely to be the last standing of the three. Even with the Orange Tribe losing the early member, I still think they're heads and shoulders above in most challenges. Um, yeah, they screwed up the big lead in the first challenge, but they still had the big lead. And I thought preseason they looked the strongest. I look at all these groups standing together on the beach, and I still just look at that group and I'm like, my God, they did not balance this very well. But so I think of those people, she's the most likely to at least get to the part where there's two amulets left. Like just odds on statistically. Other than that, I don't have a lot to say about her. So yeah.
Any other thoughts on her?
No.
It's kind of how I feel, but I mean, she has potential. We just didn't see a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9 is another person we didn't see too much of. Number 9 is Omar. Omar. Any thoughts on Omar?
I'm surprised he's ranked higher than Lindsay, considering we didn't see anything from either of them.
Mm-hmm.
But she has the power and he doesn't. And I think we really didn't see much from him at all. I think we saw even less from him than we did from her.
For me, I ranked him not only because he's on my team, but also because he came off a lot less bad socially than I thought he might, which gives me a lot of hope. Because when they're trying to figure out the puzzle, I feel like he's smart for one, and he can actually jive with people on his own tribe.
Yeah, I think I can't remember what I did with him on the ranking, if I ranked him or not. But
you ranked him 8th.
Okay, that sounds about right. Because I think I gave him props for doing the puzzle on that tribe. It seemed like he was not like Jenny, the leading force, but he sure seemed to have a lot of like actual meaningful input on that tribe for that part of the challenge. So I gave him props for that. Other than that, not much to say.
Aspen, do you have anything on Omar?
No, I barely even know who he is.
That's kind of where we're at. But we do have more to talk about with our number 8 person, which is Daniel.
Hey.
Shoulder dislocation king. That's a champ. God. That's a champ right there. You dislocated.
I originally had him higher until I thought more about his shoulder, honestly. But
when you ask him to pop it back in right there, I mean, he's been through worse. We know he's been through worse.
Yes.
But that shows me a lot of heart. I probably should have ranked him higher than I did. I had him 10th, but I mean, I like this guy. I think he's got potential, and I think he showed a lot of heart in this first episode.
Yeah, he had a great first episode. Mike, you ranked him the highest. Is it because he's on your team, or because you really?
No. I actually really like. I was impressed by what I saw. I was impressed by his positivity about his tribe, his situation. Like, that attitude can get you so far. The thing that kept me probably from home biasing him to the very top was the shoulder, in conjunction with he didn't want to reveal he was a leukemia survivor, and he did really early on, which I actually think was the right decision. Like, the bonding is so much more important than worrying about threat level management, especially when you just pop your shoulder out. That's going to knock your threat level down a peg or two, but and that's also going to make your tribe more likely to get rid of you. So bonding with them about something like that, because Mike's observant enough, he's like, hey, what about that scar? Like, so like at that point, you just fess up. I think you did the right thing. So props, good episode from Daniel. Really like Daniel. He should have probably been my number 1 pick because he's looking like one, but yeah.
My biggest negative with Daniel is his shoulder, only because, I mean, I don't trust these editors, so who knows. But during the challenge, they kept zooming in on him holding his shoulder, which makes me think there's a possibility it pops out again, which could be bad if it keeps popping out this season.
Well, as long as they're not doing sumo C, I think it'll be okay. But what I think is interesting is I think they're doing it to show that this is the toughest challenge, toughest season of Survivor ever. I could see it going two ways. One is the foreshadowing that it comes out again and is a negative there, or it's just they love pushing these last two seasons as the toughest Survivor's ever been.
True.
You know, forget being in Africa where they literally were almost eaten by lions. This is tougher
Right.
because they don't have rice. So.
Aspen, what are your thoughts on Daniel?
Honestly, he is a trooper, bro. You know, like I definitely would have been like, no, I want to go home. Take me home. You know, like Silverwood, especially because it can pop out again. But I mean, I agree with my cohorts. You know, he doing okay because I probably would have old Survivor before it was the strongest, toughest seasons ever. What the fuck ever Jeff trying to push. I feel like an old Survivor, they probably would have voted him off because they think he gonna be a weak link and not gonna be able to pull the rope in tug of war or whatever, you know. But I feel like they're giving him a chance. So I mean, he deserved to be at 8. That's a good spot for him.
All right, we will move on to basically get another person. I don't know if we have a lot to talk about with, but it is Chanel.
I knew who it was going to be when you said we didn't have a lot to talk about because I actually ranked her also very high, even though we don't have anything to talk. I think maybe we have less to talk about with her than maybe any other player in the game. But she impressed me preseason with her videos, and I didn't see enough personally from some of these other players to warrant them taking her spot in my mind as one of the better players in this game.
I did rank her, and it's not just because she's on my team, even though that is the reason. But I only ranked her like 9, so it's not me that put her.
It was me. 100%. I'm the reason she's ranked.
Aspen, you also ranked her kind of high. What are your thoughts on Chanel in this first episode?
I feel like she ain't do terrible. You know, she wasn't like making no riffs or nothing, but like she didn't get no Roxroy type edits. So,
True.
I mean, honestly, I ranked her high because for a black girl, she's sitting back and shutting up, and it's probably the smartest thing she could do right now. So, she coasting to me. I like it. It's what I would have done.
That's what you would have done. Well, maybe. But,
You know, I'll just echo what everyone else said. I don't really have a lot to say about her, so yeah.
We'll have a lot to say about our next person because this was my number 1. And it might be surprising, but number 6 is Hai. And I ranked him number 1 because there is no doubt in my mind that Hai is going to have a great social game. And, you know, that's what I look for most in these games most of the time. And Hai is going to have it, in my opinion.
That's my boy.
Now, this is outside of him putting all that blood on himself, looking like he got stabbed in the chest. But outside of that, I don't think it came back to him. At least we didn't see it in the episode, so it doesn't matter.
No, but that girl was like, oh my God, you're really bleeding.
He pulled it off because he came out looking like Carrie after the prom. Just like, whoosh, like, yo, bro. Like me after I got my chest waxed this one time. And it was just wore a white t-shirt and my whole thing was just like it just looked like bloody murder. I have Hai ranked pretty high. I had him in my top 5. He has a power. He seems social. He seems athletic. He seems like he has everything he would need to win this game. There is a name coming up that I'm not sure how is higher than Hai.
Let me suck at your rankings.
It's a meathead.
Oh, wow.
What, my other fan guy? Get the fuck off of my people, yo.
I like Hai.
I like Hai too. I think he has a lot of potentials. He has a lot going for him already. So I like his chances.
He just seems like a very well-rounded player. Nothing in this first episode makes me think otherwise. I think this is a very fair spot for him. Like if
he should be top 5.
Well, I mean, okay, he's very close to top 5. Like I think there's someone
actually should be top 3.
There's someone ahead of him that I don't think should be ahead of him, but it's not who fan guy's looking at. I don't think Romeo should be higher than High, but we'll get to that.
Well, we'll get to him next because he is number 5.
I agree, Mike. I don't. He's on my team, and I actually thought he did way better than I expected him to. Romeo actually impressed the shit out of me. I don't think he should be higher than High. I have no idea how Jonathan's higher than either of these two, but I thought Romeo did great for someone who came out saying that they were scared to go on the island. I thought he played a really social game. He seems to be in with a lot of that tribe, and for me, it's all social with Romeo. He actually seems to have a way better social game than I thought he was going to have, and he actually has some agency and some pull on his tribe. And he was smart enough to switch his vote and go with the group when he didn't want to vote out Zach, which I think shows a lot of intelligence on a game level. When you know that there's going to be X amount of people voting this person out, you do not want to be the only person going the other way. It's a bad look.
All right, so I'll say this. I gave Romeo props. I did rank him very low, but I ranked him. I gave him props for being a skinny dude who doesn't seem super athletic, who sat out the challenge. So they're already pegging him as the weakest link, at least for that challenge. And yet his name never seemed to come up as a target. 3 names came up, and we were never shown Romeo being seriously discussed as a target. Gave him props. I took him down because he really did seem to form a good bond with Zach, and he couldn't get his way, and he could not influence people to target someone other than Zach. So I docked him points for that.
That's why I docked him a little too, but I also ranked him at 5.
Yeah, I mean, I had him 8, so I didn't rank him high, but he just did a lot better than I thought he would, because I really almost didn't want him on my team, and now I'm super okay he's there.
Aspen.
Yeah, I kind of agree with them. He just, I mean, High should have been over him, but he ain't doing bad. He coasting.
What are your thoughts on High? Since he's on your team, I mean, do you think he's your best shot at winning, or do you actually think it's Jonathan?
Don't say it like that, Nicholas. I think it's High first, actually, and Jonathan is a close second. But I feel like High just doing a good job navigating, just how I knew he would, my ATL boy. So we killing it.
Well, up next is the woman nobody drafted. Marianne comes in at number 4. Boo Boo's Marianne comes in at number 4 in our ranking.
Good pick, Boo Boo.
Yeah, don't say no one drafted her. I remember Team Boo Boo having Marianne. So, yeah, Team Boo Boo's out here killing it. It's probably the highest average of all of our teams at a 4.
The one thing I feel bad even saying it, but I almost turned the TV off when she like bust out crying when Jessica was about to go home. She like, oh! I'm like,
even Jeff gave her a look. He was like, it was dramatic for 2 days.
That was one of the best things. Was Jeff could not keep a stone face when she just goes, what? Like you could just see his face. It's subtle, but it's so funny because I was just watching his face when I heard that. It was so good.
So for me, Marianne, she has that, like, the only person I can compare it to is like Rupert, that Rupert smile, that childish, exuberant, just beautiful, happy smile. And it's infectious, and it's hard not to watch her and actually like her. But I think a lot of the things that I like about her are going to hurt her in the game, because people are not going to let somebody like this, generally speaking, get to the end, because she's almost too kind and too good. And that usually bodes well around the middle of the game. I see her getting into the game, and I see her being kind of the dramatic elimination that happens.
It's like, what's his ass last season? I forgot his name, honestly. But He was on your team, fan guy, the very likable guy. That I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Nasir.
Yes, Nasir. Thank you.
Very similar.
Yeah, I agree. She's very likable. I think that will keep her around for a while. But winning, I still don't feel that great about it.
I think she's got a better chance at winning than Nasir does because I think her upbringing is less likely to just be an instant win. Whereas everyone I think recognized Nasir as the winning threat. Whereas Marianne I think would be, but maybe might not be recognized as one for longer.
She's gonna have to do some winning down the line, though, I think, to really get to the very end. Okay, up next is Jonathan.
Thank God.
Number 3.
Number 3, y'all. Come on. This guy, in his pregame interview, I'm not going to let anybody know I'm strong. He's the first dude to carry shit by himself, jump out the boat and swim by himself. He carries that tribe physically on his shoulders, pull up champion of the world, but he doesn't want people to know he's strong. I can't stand this guy. For that reason alone, he's dumb.
But his team's going to need him for this first half of the game, right?
Yeah.
But then he's got no shot.
He can comp out. He can comp out.
I don't know.
I have no idea how he's this high. Like, he did everything he said he wasn't going to do. And I did rank him. I'm not even going to bullshit. I did rank him. I had him at 9 because I actually thought we saw some stuff from him that we didn't see anything from other people. And I think he is more social than just the typical meathead. I do think he's got, more going on upstairs.
I had him kind of high, only because, his winning potential is still sketchy. But he had a good episode, and he's carrying his team, and he does have a better social game than anticipated. So, he also has a lot going for him, even though he will have to comp out at some point.
I think arguably he has the worst chance of winning on the entire cast.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Right.
I think
I actually
has the worst chance of winning on the entire cast.
Who?
Rox.
I put him at exactly 3. This is exactly where I had him. And the only reason is I think he's not going anywhere anytime soon. And I think I saw more in like social awareness and the way he handled that triangle thing when he was like, I'm outclassed here. Just you do you, I'll do me. Like, I like seeing that, like acknowledging his strengths and other strengths. For some reason that just stood out to me, and I ranked him high because he's not going anywhere anytime soon, in my opinion.
That's true.
Though the fact he counted less triangles than were visibly there. And you can't tell me that this guy's not a meathead. There are visibly like 20-something triangles that you can just count. And he's like, 16? Bro.
Aspen, what about your guy? This is going to be your Xander with that guy instead of Alex and me.
Yeah. But I think he got the potential to do good. Like Mike said, he recognized. He's like, you know what? I am a meathead, bro, and so I should not have any part in this. And like, it worked, Like they're like, okay, fine, just sit your little dumb ass back there and don't say nothing. So, it's working for him, bro. He about to win. I'm telling you, it's hard to even say my boy Hyde is over Jonathan because Jonathan is about to beast this shit, boy.
Well, I think Mike would know this because I think he commented. We did get a comment from Jay in our last comments about how production said this is going to be such a better season, or that production was higher on this season than 41, which could mean it is a man that wins that Jeff Probst has a man crush on. So that gives me a possibility that Jonathan could win.
No, that actually was my comment. I said, shit, Aspen's pick is looking better and better. That's just like my phone account. But your pick's looking better and better because if there's one person in this cast that I think Jeff Probst is going to have an obsession with, it's him. And I don't know how true that is, because whenever people say, "Oh, they're really high on this season," like, bro, that shit that could be so easily fake. Like,
I mean, Jeff Probst is high on every season. He thinks all of his twists are always the best.
he's, I don't know,
Bro.
wasn't there was one he like hated that was really good, I think, like an early season, but oh, he hated Co Wrong, which I think most of us agree is a good season.
Any final thoughts on Jonathan?
I'm nicknaming him the Count for the rest of his tenure.
Because he can't count?
1, 2, 3.
Don't worry, fan guy. If he starts annoying me like Xander did, I'm sure I'll be on the
Xander could count to 20.
Yeah, but I didn't like Xander.
I'm gonna
He
take
had a
Aspen's side on everything and regarding Jonathan.
So it's split.
See?
All right, coming in at number 2 is Jenny.
I'm just Jenny from the block. I feel like I heard somebody call her Jenny from the block, and I bust out laughing. I know y'all probably don't know that, but it's a J-Lo reference. They calling her J-Lo. Which, yeah.
The best thing from Jenny, other than the fact that obviously she was good in that triangle thing, was I feel like she has great reads already with her Prisoner's Dilemma and whatnot. I think she's going to be a good player.
Y'all let her fall to the bottom 3. Let me get her as my last pick. That's insane. But like, she literally sat there and just like was trying so hard to lead her tribe to the way to count triangles, and they just weren't getting it. She's like, "Fine, I'll do it myself," and she did, and she got the right answer. And she seems very aware of everything on her tribe. It's great.
I guess fan guy, is she walking the talk so far?
Yeah, no, she is. Well, okay, in certain ways. Like I did rank her second, so I had her, this high. Maybe a little too high in hindsight, because I think I would have changed some of my rankings had I sent them today. Because I'm still unsure of her social game. I do think she has a really good. She obviously has a mind for strategy, and she's going to be good at puzzles. Those two things usually go hand in hand. So you can tell she's one of the higher order thinkers probably on the cast, and I think that that's going to bode well for her if she's half as charismatic as she proclaims to be. But I need to see that side of her, that social side, because I don't remember seeing a lot of her actual interactions with the tribe, like at camp. And for me, that's going to determine her trajectory for me in the game. But I think she's off to a great start. I think she was really strong and took the charge in that challenge, and she did it in a non-condescending sort of bossy way. She just did it. And so I like her. I think she's pretty well-rounded, and if her social game doesn't suck, she'll probably go pretty far.
Yeah, agreed.
You're right. Any other thoughts on Jenny?
Here comes the winner. That was a good first episode.
It was a good first episode. I agree. Coming in at number 1 is Drea, who I feel like is like a less messy but also less strategic Shan.
Yes, she is. She is like Shan 2.0 minus 0.2.
So Shan 1.8.
Yeah, exactly. Good job, Nick.
I mean, she has all the advantages right now. She has 2 of them. But the one thing that I had to put her number 2 because she had an overall good episode, but her wanting to vote out Roxroy makes me think that strategically, that's not the smartest thing for her, because that would have been a dumb thing for her, I think.
It was. No, it was 100%.
So she could be an emotional player, possibly too.
Yeah, she seemed kind of mean too. Like she made one comment on their little summit, and look, I ranked her first. I love her. I think she's gonna have a great season. If she can survive the next week or two, I think she goes really, really far. But she made one comment where she was just like, "I'm not here to make friends" or something like that, and I was like, "Damn, Drea! Like, damn, all right." Like,
I mean, she's there to be cutthroat, I think.
Yeah, and I think she is more physical than Shan too. I think she's gonna have more of a physical side to her.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that Mike brought up, though, in the draft, though, which I think is going to come to fruition, is if this team continues to lose a lot of players, yeah, she's going to stick around, but she's going to be in an also similar spot to Shen, where it could be her and who knows who. Her and Romeo make the merge, and then. Any other thoughts on Drea?
Honestly, I ranked her number 1 because I feel like she did a really good job, but I wanted to knock her down after I seen next week's episode little preview. I'm like, ooh.
Those previews are always the opposite. So they could come for her, but she's not going to go home. It'll probably be Tori. Or they're going to win the challenge anyway, not go to tribal.
All right, you got me there.
I think she's a good player, and I think one of the most likely players on blue to succeed long term. I wasn't impressed with a lot of that tribe. Like, I was literally doing the ranking, and I looked, and I'm like, am I really going to only rank 2 people from blue? And then I thought on it, and I'm like, I might. But Drea, she seems like she could end up being a triple threat pretty quick. But the question is, are people going to pick up on it?
True. She's also someone who might need numbers at the merge because she could be a threat.
Her biggest downfall is exactly what you pointed out, Nick, in my opinion. And it was her lack of awareness and wanting to target Roxroy, who physically is probably the second strongest player on that team behind her, I think. If not the strongest. So I don't understand the whole keeping strong players, but you want to vote him out because he needed to take a breath in the challenge, even though he's clearly doing more than a lot of the other people. So it definitely made me wonder where her head was at with that decision. And that was the one thing that I saw from this episode that I did not like from her.
All right. Well, any final thoughts on episode 1 or the rankings in general?
It's really tough to rank a lot of these people with how much we got so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna gear up to give us a better season than last season. So
I hope so.
yeah.
It's off to a better start, though.
Yeah.
I like this cast way better than the BP Canada cast.
Oh, God, don't even tell me about it. I hate almost every single person of the Big Brother cast except 2 or 3. But on that note, we will see. I guess we will see everybody for Big Brother Canada tomorrow night. But we will see everybody for Survivor 2 next week. So that is all.